Welcome to Woodland Sunrise Rotary Foundation's 2020 fundraiser. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this virtual giving event will be in lieu of this year's traditional annual salmon barbecue dinner. We are calling this non-salmon, non-dinner the Salmondemic, Giving for Living. You'll be introduced to 3 local community organizations which embody the Rotarian motto, Service Above Self. It is our hope that you will agree that each of these recipients is worthy of your generous donations. Once again, welcome, and please enjoy the presentation.
When I think about Rotary Opens opportunities for people outside of Rotary, I think now about how, especially with this pandemic, we've really been thrust into a time where we can't physically connect in person. And so the way we virtually connect has actually allowed us to connect with more people than we were able to connect with before, because it's forced us to find ways to connect online. And the digital technology that we have now to really reach people in small communities that wouldn't have been possible for us to travel to has really opened up opportunities for us to make a difference. And I think about places where children don't have an opportunity for the same education that some of our kids do. And through our technology, we can share some of that now that we didn't think we could share before. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for people to get help through technology it's an opportunity we didn't even think about until this year when we've had to focus on it so much. So I think it's a great theme for this year.
CommuniCare Health Centers began as the Davis Free Clinic in 1972. From providing part-time limited medical and substance use treatment services in a local church, the clinic soon relocated to a rented house on 4th and E Streets in downtown Davis. Over time, services expanded to include comprehensive general medicine, perinatal, women's health, pediatrics, and mental health services, which necessitated multiple relocations to facilitate providing more services. By 1988, the clinic had consolidated and moved all services, staff, and volunteers to a renovated space in Davis, and a clinic in West Sacramento was opened for substance use treatment services specifically. 27 years ago, in 1993, services expanded to Woodland when the Peterson Clinic opened. With a mission rooted in the underlying philosophy that healthcare is a right, not a privilege, we are committed to the following characteristics. We provide comprehensive and high-quality healthcare to anyone in our community, regardless of insurance status or ability to pay. We deliver healthcare in a supportive, safe environment, emphasizing patient partnership, wellness, and preventative health in all of our services. We invest in employees, learners, and volunteers at all levels of the organization, as they are the foundation and the heart of the work we do. CommuniCare provides health services for 1 in 9 residents in the area. In 2019, CommuniCare provided 132,632 patient visits in a safe and welcoming environment to more than 24,000 people. These strong roots began with our founder, Dr. John H. Jones. Dr. Jones was known for visiting farm labor camps and other encampments using a converted milk delivery truck as a mobile clinic to provide care. Other stories passed along over the years include that Dr. Jones would accept food and other goods as payment and could be found tearing up outstanding bills at the end of the year. Most notably, Dr. Jones was a fierce advocate for substance use treatment, and this service has been provided since the founding. Clients and community members alike still affectionately refer to those services as John Jones Clinic. In 1994, the name CommuniCare Health Centers was adopted to describe the family of health centers that today includes the Davis Community Clinic, Hanson Family Health Centers in Woodland, Salud Clinic in West Sacramento, and satellite sites throughout the area, including the Family Wellness Center campus recently added to the CommuniCare family in 2018. The Family Wellness Center campus is comprised of 3 small buildings on the corner of Lincoln and First Avenue in downtown Woodland. Children and families are provided much-needed evidence-based behavioral health services through a menu of options which include mental health counseling, family therapy, child psychiatry, parenting, substance use services, wraparound services, group therapy, and an LGBTQ+ support group. In 2019, a new playground was added with the help of a Woodland Community Block Grant, and in August 2020, the new pediatric and specialty care dental clinic opened, utilizing the third unoccupied building. Now, more than ever, providing a welcoming and safe services for children and family is instrumental in supporting a healthy community. CommuniCare continues to offer in-person and telehealth services to meet the diverse needs of the community we serve.
Hi, I'm Robin Dravan of Woodland Sunrise Rotary, and with me is Sarah Gavin, Chief Behavioral Health Officer of CommuniCare's Family Wellness Center here in downtown Woodland. What makes CommuniCare unique?
Well, CommuniCare as a health center is rooted in the social justice philosophy that healthcare is a right, not a privilege. And so we do not turn anyone away based on their inability to pay. And so we offer a sliding fee scale for people that need to access services. And so we don't turn people away. So people that need help and services, we provide non-judgmental services for those who need it the most.
What would you attribute to CommuniCare's longevity or success?
I think CommuniCare has been able to be a stable force in the community for a long time because we've been able to adapt and listen to what our community needs and our community partners and our clients, and been able to pivot and expand and offer different services depending on what people need. So we've been responsive and listening to our community for a really long time.
I sense you're passionate about this organization. Can you tell us why?
Absolutely. So today actually is my anniversary of 13 years with CommuniCare Health Centers, and my very first job with CommuniCare was a mental health clinician in our substance use treatment services. And so for me, like the work that I've done directly with clients will stay with me forever. Being able to hear the stories of resilience and challenges. And so for me, being able to listen and be a part of clients' healing and life is something that guides me, and I feel really passionate about the services that we do. And I've been able to see the impact of services firsthand through my work with clients.
Can you paint a picture for us of the people that CommuniCare serves?
Absolutely. It's reflective of Yolo County, the people that are living in the community. We aim to serve those individuals and being able to respond to what they need. And so the people that we serve are the people that are living right here in the community. They're people that obviously are coming in and getting services because they're going through challenges in their life and they need help and care. There are kids that go to local schools. There are kids that are referred by community partners. And then there's also kids and families that are involved in challenging systems like child welfare services and probation or other system-involved youth and families.
This must be a particularly difficult time for children. Well, how have the COVID-19 pandemic restrictions impacted the children that you serve and families?
Yeah, COVID in particular has been very challenging for kids' wellness in general. All the things that as therapists and clinicians that we support kids in doing to help their healing, like connection and support, aren't always available. And we have parents that are particularly stressed right now for lots of reasons that impact children. And so for services in particular, we've never closed our doors. We've always provided services, even through the pandemic, as essential workers. So if a family can engage in telehealth, we move to telehealth very quickly to be able to, to support vulnerable families. And we continue to offer in-person services with precautions. So what we decide and we work through is what's in the best interest of the family and how to help and support them. And we do that in partnership with the families.
We're here today to help raise money for the Children's Behavioral Treatment Room. Can you tell us how those enhancements will help your treatment of children and improve those services?
Absolutely. Well, as you can imagine, for being a kid and coming to a service provider who's a stranger, someone sometimes you've never met, and engaging in services that are sometimes scary to engage in, right? Talking about hard feelings and talking about difficult circumstances for parents and kids. So the environment in which families are served is really important. We want to create an environment where kids are excited to come and they either look forward to coming again, that it's fun and it's welcoming and it's playful, and and our families deserve it. Our families are often struggling with resources and have to access resources that are not well funded, and we want families to be able to feel good about the resources that are provided here. And we want kids to want to come back.
families watching this know or have a family member with a child who's struggling, how can they get a hold of you? How can you help them?
They can call us or they can walk in and we can help them get services and navigate them to care. Just asking for help is a big part of the battle.
How would you describe the dedication of your team working with CommuniCare to help make our community safer and healthier through these hard times?
Our providers are some of the most mission-driven people that I have ever met in my entire life. They're dealing with their own challenges during COVID, their own personal circumstances, and they have been so flexible and adaptable and energized by trying to figure out a way to provide quality care for families that need it with all these restrictions. And they've been just incredible through this time, really. And they have so much passion and dedication to continuing services. We're always talking about, well, how can we do this? How can we make this happen? As opposed to getting stuck in what we can't do, and figuring it out. And they're an incredibly creative group of people trying to figure it out.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when I was invited to join Rotary and found out that Rotary was involved in polio eradication, it really became a personal thing for me to be able to support something that may not have helped my grandmother, but could help other people, prevent them from suffering the same fate.
Right.
If I had to pick one, I would say the tree plantings that we've done. And there's various reasons for that. One is that my family has come and helped me with some of those tree plantings, which is nice to have them involved. It's something that I can walk around or drive around town and see the results of. And it's something that I know will benefit the community for decades and decades to come. You look at some of the big trees around town that were planted by someone years ago, and now the trees that we're planting now will be those trees for decades to come.
Forth and Hope's mission is to feed, clothe, shelter, and facilitate recovery to those in need, and to show the love of Jesus Christ in words and actions. We provide a continuum of care for the hungry and homeless by moving them from the streets to stability in Woodland and Yolo County. Forth and Hope is a community, a faith-based organization that welcomes all who are in need. For 35 years, we have provided services and facilities that benefit the homeless populations of Yolo County. Our three primary program areas are homeless services, treatment, and housing. Our homeless services program offers an emergency shelter which operates 365 days a year. It offers beds and meals to men, women, and families. Last year, 300 people received shelter services and found housing through our program, including 48 children and youth in families experiencing homelessness. 76 people successfully completed the treatment program, and 100,000 meals were served.
Hi, I'm Robin Dravon with Woodland Sunrise Rotary. And with me today is Doug Zeck from Forth and Hope here in Woodland. I know Forth and Hope has been in Woodland for about 30 years now.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about Forth and Hope and its history?
Yeah. In its early beginnings, it was just very grassroots, very simple. We see hungry people, we want to help them, and so we would serve them meals. And it wasn't me, obviously. I was a teenager, so at that time. But some good-hearted people that were associated with, not just in the community, but also with some churches, would come together and would have an evening meal at least once a week for them. Another church in town was providing sack lunches to those that were hungry to receive a lunch. Another church was providing food baskets for those that needed food. And at one point in time in the mid-'80s, they all came together as one happy family, you might say, and became the Yolo Wayfarer Center Christian Mission. And the main hub for that was at 4th and Court, where we're currently located today, or where our Walters House is located today. And so that's how we got started in the early beginnings. And of course, it's grown a lot since then. I would like to think that it's grown because the need has grown, And so, although I don't know that we've always kept pace with the need, and so we do have some plans for additional growth in the future, really because the need is there. And so that's what's got us to this point right now.
Is there a hero from those earliest days of Fourth and Hope?
Walter Zeck, who's my grandfather, and so he always had a heart for those, and actually goes back a little bit earlier when they still lived in Ohio. Ellen, my grandmother, would feed people. They had train tracks behind their house, and so people that were riding the rails would get off and they'd feed them sandwiches, even back then. But when they lived here in Woodland, they had a heart for those. There was a day that they were taking people in the 60s, the hippies we would call them, and they would allow them to sleep in their backyard and just to feed them and speak into their lives. And so Walter Zeck was a big part of that. He was pastoring a church here in town and helped with that. And people that, it wasn't him alone. A lot of good collaboration, lots of good churches, lots of good people, a lot of good volunteers in the community came out to really get Fourth and Hope started. I really believe what makes Fourth and Hope unique is it's continued to stay mission focused, to feed, clothe, shelter, facilitate recovery for those in need, showing the love of Jesus Christ in words and actions. That's always at the root of what we do. We work really hard to stay focused and be mission critical in how we go about that. Keeping those that we serve as the primary reason for our existence. It's not as much about the organization as it is about those that we serve, and trying to make sure that stays there as the primary focus. And we are based in this community, but Fourth and Hope exists not because we're based here, but because the community desires us here. It's a real partnership with our community. I don't know if that's tremendously unique to other nonprofits, but I know that Fourth and Hope does not exist without the community's support and partnership. It's more than just financial. We have lots of volunteerism that happens outside of the COVID season, obviously, but I'm just always impressed at how much support exists within our community around the services we provide.
What can you attribute to Fourth and Hope's longevity, or maybe success is a better word?
I would say a lot of it is tied to relationship with the community. A desire to continue to nurture relationship, not just with the clients that we're serving, but also with those that would like to serve. I've often talked about two sides to hope. There's a side that desperately needs to receive hope because they're hopeless and they're lacking hope. And then there's a side that I have hope. I have plenty. I have more than I need. And Fourth and Hope's success, I think, is that we really work hard to facilitate the two sides of hope, those that have and those that have not, and try to make a safe place for those things to come together and help facilitate hope. Fourth and Hope, we don't carry the hope ourselves, but we can help facilitate providing hope for those that are lacking through those that have. And I think as long as we continue to stay focused on that, knowing who we are, knowing that we're not at all of hope, we're just a facilitator of that, I think it keeps us right fitted in the community that we serve in, and it helps keep a healthy community as a whole. I think it would be unhealthy for a community to defer all of the needs for those that are needing the safety net of food, shelter, clothing. If the community deferred to an organization to take that on, I don't think that creates healthy community. I think we need to embrace that, and then Fourth and Hope is here to help facilitate that.
Hi, my name is Noelle. I'm a client here at Fourth and Hope, and if it hadn't been for these wonderful people here, I would be on the streets.
The people we serve, first of all, are persons. They're individuals. They're unique in and of themselves. Many times when you start having a conversation with somebody that's come to Fourth and Hope to receive help, you find a lot of layers of problems in life. And I know people would say, well, they just need to choose to be whole, or they just need to choose to go to work, or they just need to choose to do something right. But it's really been a compounded timeline of poor choices. And so maybe they made a bad choice and it led to another bad choice, to another bad choice. And so what you're looking at is somebody that says, hey, I'm ready to start peeling back all the bad choices I've made and get back to a stable place so I can start building my life in such a way that is purposeful and fulfilling. And so the person that we see is not just someone that's addicted, not just someone that's impoverished or in choosing poverty. Sometimes it's people that have just come across hard times. The economy's been desperate for many people right now. It is a desperate time. And the face of homelessness has changed from one year to the next or from one decade to the next. And so it takes a strong team, committed team to be able to meet them where they're at.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Bauer, and I work here at Fourth and Hope. I'm a program manager over homeless services. I was once homeless, and someone helped me to get stable and directed me in the right way. I moved here to Woodland, and I decided I wanted to work for Fourth and Hope to help individuals be successful and stable.
You know what? One thing I have noticed is there's a heightened level of fear and anxiousness about participating in anything other than what I'm currently doing. So people are isolating and not necessarily connecting with services for fear of not knowing what they might encounter when it comes to health and that type of thing. So I've noticed that we've had fewer and fewer clients actively engaging. So for us as Fourth and Hope, we've had to pick up the slack and be more intentional about engaging with those that are not entering into our services. And so I think the connectivity piece has been more trying. Operationally, it's been more trying. Where we've been a congregate shelter, typically we've had to spread out, which creates less space or less bed availability for individuals. And then with the wildfire and the things that are going on in our wildfires that are going on in our state, it's just limited resources. And where some resources that may have been, although there's been resources allocated for homeless services, some are being reallocated for other areas. So I see COVID as obviously has been difficult for so many. And again, we're having to, as many have, pivot how we provide services. But I also think that the longer term or mid to long term impacts, we'll have to wait and see, but I believe housing is going to be a big part of the issue there.
Hi, my name is Chris. I was a homeless drug addict here in Woodland. If it wasn't for some of the staff members here, I probably still wouldn't be clean and sober. Today, I'm housed. I'm back with my kids. I work a full-time job. Please donate.
We're here today to help raise money for an outdoor patio cover for Fourth and Hope. Can you describe for us what a day away from the rain or the hot sun or the smoke would mean to someone without shelter?
Yeah. When we encounter somebody that's an unhoused neighbor, survival for them is 10 minutes at a time. And so to have a conversation with somebody about entering into recovery, whether it's recovery from poverty or substance or whatever it might be, that's not a conversation that they readily want to engage in because they're trying to survive the next 10 minutes. If we can provide shelter, safe space, opportunity to get out of the elements and provide safety for 10 minutes at a time for them, now we can start entering into conversations that are more long-term in nature about recovery, then stability, and ultimately lifelong fulfillment. But it starts 10 minutes at a time. So that's what this, some would say, well, it's nice to be able to sit out in the shade for 10 minutes. But for somebody that's been unhoused for sometimes years, that 10 minutes, they're constantly looking for that. And if we can provide that for them, now they don't have to look for it. And it just starts to open up the door to hope for long-term fulfillment in life. The first thing I would say, if you're a family member that knows somebody that's near and dear to you that's struggling with this, first of all, I would tell you, good job. because it's very hard to be a family member not knowing what to do with them to help. And it's trying on you as an individual. It's a lot of work. And you run out of options. And I want you to know Fourth and Hope is an option for you as a family member, loved one, and for your loved one. The options that we have are growing. And currently, anybody should be able to connect with the shelter. We're soon to be in a different location, but at 5 o'clock in the evenings, we'll be providing hot meals for those that are hungry. Again, giving them 10 minutes of safety, giving them their next meal so they don't have to think about it. 6 p.m. is a check-in for our shelters so they have a place to stay at night. During the daytime, we will be providing them with showers and laundry facility and restrooms, and having people on site that can start having critical conversations with them about hope for tomorrow and what's the next best step for them. So for you that have been the safety net and don't know what more to do, we would love to partner and help be that safety net for your family member and help set them on a path. It also gives you a break so you can still be there and help you find strength in being there for them as we take on some of their basic needs of food, clothing, and shelter. It's actually been more like 35 years now that Fourth and Hope first started. There has been thousands of people that have been through a Fourth and Hope program or service that still reside in our communities. And these thousands of people were, to what I had mentioned once before, they're persons. They're unique, they're special, they're awesome. They were in a bad spot, and now they're on a path to life fulfillment of whatever their purpose might be. And so the story of Fourth and Hope is intentionally for 35 years, we've partnered with our community to touch a person's life so that person in turn could change a community. And I would love to say that work has made this a better community, and the work we will do with our partners will make it even a better community.
So after 22 moves and being away 50 years, I decided to come back to Woodland. And of course, my first move was, I want to know what Woodland's like. So my first objective was to learn, and so that's why I joined Rotary. Then I kind of got started in the idea of helping the community, which I guess really in the beginning, before I came back, I always was thinking, I'd like to go back to Woodland and help people that need help. And so that was kind of my objective. To me, it's service above self. I mean, if you can do it, do it. And so that's been what I've been trying to do.
Hi, I'm Robin Dravon of Woodland Sunrise Rotary Club. I'm here today with Gina Bravo, Chief Nursing Executive and Chief Operations Officer of Woodland Healthcare. Let's start off with a little bit of history. Woodland Healthcare has been in Woodland for over a century, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
Can you give us a brief history?
Absolutely. Woodland Healthcare's healing started back in 1905 when a nurse, which is very near and dear to my heart, Kathleen McConnell, founded the Woodland Sanitarium in a 2-story house with just 9 rooms. Eventually, the McConnell sisters retired. In 1911, 4 doctors merged their practices and purchased the sanitarium from Kathleen McConnell to continue providing care in the community. These doctors also purchased a plot of land on 3rd and Cross Streets to build a new general hospital. These visionary men foretold the need for additional services in Yolo County. In 1920, 2 parcels of land were purchased north of the hospital, and construction began to expand the Woodland Sanitarium. The doctors practiced medicine with an innovative team approach similar to the model pioneered by the Mayo Clinic. In fact, Dr. Charles Mayo came to Woodland several times to consult during the sanitarium's expansion in the 1920s. In 1922, the name was changed to Woodland Clinic Hospital. And in 1926, the first unit of the Woodland Clinic Hospital expansion was opened. During the 1930s, in the Great Depression, the hospital tried its very best to stay afloat, but eventually the property was lost. The hospital was offered by the bank for sale to the highest bidder, and one of the founding doctors, Dr. Fred Fairchild, was the sole bidder and became the legal owner of Woodland Clinic Hospital. In the following months, Dr. Fairchild and his brother worked to restore the clinical group and rebuild the hospital. In 1958, the Woodland Clinic Hospital expanded again with a surgical suite and maternity wing addition. In 1960, the doctors donated all of the assets of the hospital to the community and reorganized as a not-for-profit corporation, and in 1962, the name was changed to Woodland Memorial Hospital to communicate the hospital's true community purpose. After continuing to experience growing pains, in 1967, Woodland Memorial Hospital opened up in the current space that it is right now. In the same year, the Woodland Clinical Medical Group opened up adjacent to the new hospital. In 1992, a contract was signed for the two organizations to affiliate and become one integrated organization. And in 1996, a merger joins Woodland Healthcare and Catholic Healthcare West to become the 8th largest hospital system in the nation and the largest non-for-profit hospital provider in California. And today, with our current and most recent merger with CHI to become Common Spirit Health, we are now the 2nd largest not-for-profit hospital system in the United States. We operate more than 700 care sites and 142 hospitals. And it's said that we touch 1 in every 4 lives. That long heritage of serving the community is really at the heart of what we do. We have many comprehensive programs, including community wellness programs, and we truly follow our mission, and our purpose is to serve the underserved in our community. We are all Woodland Healthcare. That is the great thing about it. It's our friends, it's our neighbors, our community, our postman. Everybody that comes into the hospital is known by somebody, and really sometimes it's our own family, which is what truly makes Woodland what it is. In fact, I've been so impressed with the community of Woodland that I recently made a move out here myself. I've always lived up in the Roseville area, and the last couple months I moved out and joined in the community, so this is going to be my permanent home too. A good example to give you really a flavor of who we serve is our Adult Day Health Care Center. This is a population of elderly people, or people with mental illness, or people with chronic illness, or even disabilities that really have nowhere else to go. This Adult Day Health allows them to come to the center, have their needs met. It gives their caregivers a break. It allows many of the people to stay at home and not be in a skilled nursing facility or a residential visit. And we just come together and serve that population in just such a passionate way. In fact, during this COVID, when services like this had to be shut down, our team stayed devoted, and they actually go out into the community and go to the people's houses to deliver the services to them at home.
We're here today to raise money for a specialized respiratory scope to be used in the ICU.
Yes, this is a much needed piece of equipment. When patients get in trouble with their breathing and they're unable to maintain their airway on their own, and they come into our hospital, sometimes we have to put in a breathing tube to help them. And what this glide scope does, it's a video scope that actually visualizes down into the throat for the physician, so he can put the breathing tube, which in many cases is a life-saving piece of equipment, in much easier and much quicker. This is really came to light during this recent pandemic with the COVID. As everyone is aware, it's a respiratory sort of illness, and we anticipated the need greater for patients that come in and might need one of those breathing tubes that I described. So having this equipment in our emergency room will allow us to deliver that care to them. I see our Woodland Foundation as really an integral part of us in the community. They really strengthen the bond between the two of us. It allows the community to get a picture of what's going on in these walls every day and be able to contribute to some of those life-saving measures that we do. And on this side, I just wish for a moment people could see the looks on the faces of the employees when they get the most modern equipment that other hospitals are using, or something that they never dreamed that we would be able to ever get, and then that equipment is able to be purchased through our foundation. What we do is important, but what the foundation does is just as important for us. They really help us achieve all the things we accomplish.
I found out quickly how much the Woodland Sunrise Rotary Club does to that when I joined, from marshaling the local Christmas parade to the tree planting that we've done, to helping out at the Yolo County Fair, and painting maps on the school ground asphalt. Just an awful lot of things that involve doing something. And that seemed to catch me more than contributing, although I want to do that, and I think that's important. The one that's closest to my heart is Woodland Kids Read. And the looks on those kids' faces when all that happens, particularly the first year when there was no rumors getting out about anything like this, is just heartwarming and committing. I'm thoroughly committed to that program.
We can all be grateful to Woodland Healthcare, Fourth and Hope, and Communicare for serving our community and keeping us all safer and healthier. Living a generous life brings joy. We hope that the generosity in your donations to Woodland Sunrise Foundation on behalf of Woodland Healthcare, Fourth and Hope, and Communicare brings you that fulfillment. From all of us at Woodland Sunrise Rotary, on behalf of the Woodland Sunrise Rotary Foundation, thanks for being an active part of this community. Thank you for joining the Salmondemic and Giving for Living.